Hello, welcome back to another PianoPig lesson. Today we're going to be looking at chord inversions, what they are and how to use them. So normally when we play a chord, a C major triad for example, we play it in what is known as root position. And what this means is that the root of the chord, which is a C in this case, as it's the first note of the scale, is played at the bottom of the chord. So chords that follow this pattern are played in what we call root position. Now if we take this bottom note and we put it up at the top, we get this chord. Now these notes are exactly the same as before, but this time we would call this C major first inversion. When we play a chord in its first inversion, the third note of the scale, 1, 2, 3, which is an E in this case, is always at the bottom. Now if we take this bottom note again and put it up at the top, we have a C major second inversion. And when we play a chord in its second inversion, the fifth note of the scale is always at the bottom. Now if we try and repeat the same pattern by taking the bottom note and putting it up at the top, we end up with our root position again. So for a triad chord, there are only 3 positions to play it in. Root position, first inversion, and second inversion. Although we are playing the same chord each time, each inversion has its own unique sound, and they can be used for things such as making boring sound chord progressions more interesting, or creating melody lines using chords. Now we can also take this concept and apply it to seventh chords. If we take a C minor 7 for example, this is our root position, our first inversion, and our second inversion. And because there's an extra note in a seventh chord, we can do this again to get a third inversion. When we play a third inversion, the seventh note is always at the bottom. Then we come back to our root position again. So I really recommend playing around with different inversions of chords that you already know and seeing what different sounds you can come up with. I'll finish off with a quick example. So we had a simple chord progression of A minor, D minor, and E minor. We could play it like this. But that's hardly a very exciting sound. So instead we could play A minor root position as before. Then we could play D minor second inversion. Then we could play E minor first inversion. And this sounds far more interesting than before. And as well as it sounding much more interesting, we don't have to jump around so much, so it's actually easier to play. So yeah, play around with that idea and see what you can come up with, and I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment box below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want even more videos, resources, backing tracks and more, then head over to our website, pianopig.com. See you there.